All right, guys. For today, it's very basically what we've been looking at is just at the beginning is I showed you guys the parallel lines going from left to right, and I've been showing them to you guys like that, and the transversal just crossing the parallel lines. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to call it parallel lines with transversal not simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the parallel lines so they don't have to be from left to right. I could have them up and down, and the transversal going like this. So I'm going to be able to, I'm going to turn the pictures a little. Not only that, but I'm going to include lines or rays that have nothing to do with the angles, right? I'm just going to include extra stuff that have nothing to do with the angles, just to try to confuse you guys. So that's why I'm calling it not simple. So, so here, the angles, my angle X and Y, I look at the angles in Y, and then I'm thinking, all right, which lines are parallel that have to deal with X and Y? My mind, I'm looking at these two parallel lines. Then I'm like, well, which one is my transversal? Which one's the line that has to deal with my angles and it crosses my parallel lines? I'm talking about this transversal. Everything else is just extra. So they're on the same side of the transversal. One of them is in between the parallel lines. One of them is outside. So that's what we call corresponding. So once again, I'm including extra lines, extra rays that have nothing to do with your angles. Looking at question number 2, the parallel lines are these two. My transversal is this one. So I'm dealing with angle Y, angle X. Once again, I'm not asking you to solve. I'm just identifying the angles. They're on different sides of the transversal. One of them's on the top, one's at the bottom. So that makes it alternate. And because they're both in between the parallel lines, it's alternate interior. Any questions on these? No? Okay, so now looking at my questions 3 and 4, I'm going to ask you guys to solve for these. So in this case, I'm going to focus first on my parallel lines. Those lines that are parallel and have to deal with my angles. I'm looking at these two lines. Those are my parallel lines. Then I ask, well, which one's my transversal? Happens to be this one. The older line is just extra. So my angles, in this case, are alternate interior. So that means they equal each other. -1 plus 11x equals 10x plus 10. Separate them to the equal sign. X is on both sides. So let me move the 10x over. Let me move the -1 over. Obviously, switch the signs on each. So 1x is equal to 11. There you go. I already solved for x. Looking at question number 4. My parallel lines are these two. My transversal is this one, right? The other two lines have nothing to do with my angles. This case, I have corresponding because you notice they're on the same side of the transversal, one of them between the parallel lines, the other one outside. So they equal each other. 9x minus 3 equals 11 plus 7x. I'm going to move the 7x to the left. I'm going to move my minus 3 to the right. Obviously, switch the signs. I get the 2x equals 14. So x must be 7. Right? Divide both sides by 2. The questions were just solved for x, so we're good to go. Any questions on these? No? No. Good?
Wait, I have one question.
Yes.
So when the lines are both together and the one that's like
The transversal, the one crossing it? Yes.
yeah, like how do you know which one's not the parallel a part of the parallel line?
Because you see how the 11 plus 7x, the sides of 11 plus 7x is the orange side and the yellow side. So I know I had to use those two
So
sides.
the one that's far away from it has nothing to do with it, right?
Like see how this line right here on the far left,
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the angles.
Yeah.
So that's just extra.
Oh.
Okay. Now, my last two examples, I'm going to ask you guys to find and measure the angle indicated in bold. Now, my parallel lines, I'm looking at two lines that are parallel and have to are at one of the sides of the angles. I'm dealing with these two. My transversal in this case, let me go with orange. Transversal, this one. So the line in between is just extra. Now here I'm dealing with alternate interior, right? Because they're opposite sides of the transversal. They're both in between the parallel lines, so they equal each other. 11x plus 6 equals 2 plus 12x. I'm going to move the 11x over. I'm going to move the 2 over. I get that 4 is equal to x. But now the instructions here are find and measure the angle indicated in bold, which is 2 plus 12 times x. I had to multiply first. So 12 times 4 is 48 plus 2 will give me 50. Right. Looking at question number 6, I'm looking at the parallel lines, which are these two, the transversal, which is this one. Now, in this case, they're both on the same side of the parallel line. I mean, of the transversal. They're both in between the parallel lines, so that's same side interior. In here, they equal each other. So I'm going to add everything. 12x minus 2 plus 17x plus 8, and it's equal to 180. Remember, same side interior equals to 180. Yes. Whenever you're dealing with corresponding alternate interior or alternate exterior, they equal each other. Whenever you're dealing with same side interior, equals 180. So, like, let's say I was talking about these two angles right here. Those are corresponding, so they equal each other. Now here, they're both in between the same side. So same side interior, they add up to 180. Now, the left side of the equal sign, there's a bunch of things. So let me condense it. Let me make it small. Let me combine the like terms. 12x plus 17x, we're going to call that 29x. And then negative 2, positive 8, different signs. Subtract them, keep the sign of the large one. So we're going to call it plus 6. Right? I just condensed the left side. Let me subtract 6. 174, yes. So 29x equals 174. Divide both sides by 29. This case happens to be 6. 174 divided by 29 gives us 6. So we're looking at 17 times 6 plus 8. 17 times 6 is 102. And then 102 plus 8, 110. All right. Any questions? No?